And we are underway, broadcasting to you from our North Catholic studios in Cranberry Township with our fourth episode of our podcast on North Catholic Athletics. My name is Alex Brown, alongside is Ryan Berry and Callie Martis. As it's been a long time since we've been back producing a podcast, but it's great to be back here in the new year, in the thick of things, in our winter sports season, as we're coming down to the home stretch in all of our sports, with senior nights galore between our main sports here in the winter season. And today we're going to focus on basketball for the boys and the girls and the North Catholic hockey team as they come down to the final stretches of their section schedules this season. We're going to start by going over the North Catholic Trojanettes basketball team. Ryan, the Trojanettes 8-0 in conference this season, 10-4 overall, but really starting to find their groove, especially with a big win over Highlands just last week that we were there for on middle school night.
Yeah, the girls basketball team, they're starting to come into their own, form their identity a little bit, and it's still taking some time. The scoring isn't quite there yet, but the defense has gone a lot better. That was a little bit of their struggle to start, and it's going to be like that because they added so many new players this year. They lost Dace Lewandowski, one of their best players, who went on to Akron. Lost Tori Drevna, a great three-point shooter. Ava Walker's now out for the season. So a lot of new faces coming in. Brady Wayner, freshman, starting. Lauren Wright's a freshman starting. So there's a lot of new players. Lauren Mim now starting. There is a lot of new faces in the lineup. And they're starting to mesh now and come to their own. And you can say they're coming to their own now, but they're still 8-0 in conference. So they've been forming and gelling together while still not losing any conference games. And so that's what you want. And they're just going to get better. And they're primed for another playoff run. And they got some good matchups. They play Kennedy Catholic tonight. Obviously, this podcast will be out after that game happens, but that is a very good, tough matchup. They played Greensburg Central Catholic, beat them, and that was a really good matchup. They've played Highlands. They played Greensburg Salem. They played Seneca Valley. They played a lot of good teams, and so they're starting to get better and better as we go along playing these tough matchups. Iron sharpens iron, and they're getting better.
So playing those tougher teams, Callie, like Ryan just mentioned, that has to not only give the team confidence in those games, because you're playing teams. Their section is terrible for North Catholic this year. They dominate the section just about every year. Highlands is their only legitimate competitor. That was a close game when we just had that broadcast last week. But playing those formidable teams non-conference wise and sprinkled throughout the course of the season gives you that little bit of a jolt every once in a while to just make sure you're on track, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of gives you that playoff feel in games for sure. They play Kennedy Catholic tonight, which is going to be a hard matchup for both teams. I expect a lot of back and forth, pretty low scoring game, hopefully. And that's what we saw against Highlands. It went back and forth. North Catholic came out with the win, 43-39. But they have a lot of great leaders on their team. You talk about Elena Rocco, committed to Harvard. She averages 19.5 points per game, a big leader in that. And also, you have your young leaders as well. Brady Wayner has been outstanding for the Trojanettes this year, averages 15.7 points per game.
And she is the highest scoring freshman in the Whippeal this season, one of North Catholic's players of the week.
She had some big shots in that Highlands game down the stretch.
She sure did.
She made some big threes. How many points did she have in that game? I don't even remember.
She was up in the upper teens. She was in the upper teens in that game. You're right, Ryan. And you think being able to, those threes that North Catholic generates, are they too reliant on the three so far this season?
I would say a little bit, but I think the biggest reason they're taking so many threes is they're getting so many open looks from three. I wouldn't say it's more of forcing it up. The teams are giving them the threes, so they're taking them. It's just a matter of knocking them down consistently, which is they've gotten better at.
They have the players to do it.
And it's something they still got to work on. Brady Wayner has been improving for me on the arc. She's turning into a little bit of Tori Drevna, and only a freshman, so she's just going to get better as well. This whole team's young and just going to get better, and it's going to be fun to watch the rest of the year.
Without a doubt. And Callie, we're coming in on senior night this Friday against Derry, and we look at the seniors on this team. Elena Rocca, you mentioned, but also Ava Walker. Ava Walker was out for the remainder of the season after she suffered a torn ACL and MCL that she suffered just after the Christmas Day in a game in a tournament. But suffering that loss, she's still a part of the team, still at every game, still on the bench. Lauren Mim, another senior that has really been remarkable on the court this season for North Catholic in her first year with the Trojanettes. The senior leadership on this team is deep.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Alex. I mean, the leadership shows every single game. Like I just said, Elena Rocco, big leader on there. And Ava Walker, even though she isn't playing, she's still leading the team out there on the bench, for sure. And Lauren Mim, she is really fun to watch, especially on defense. The amount of turnovers she causes is outstanding for North Catholic.
It really is. And she had 15 points on Monday against Freeport in that matchup. And coming from NA last season, wasn't working out for her there. Now comes to North Catholic and has really put together a superb season as she's leading North Catholic to the last 7 wins in a row for the Trojanettes coming into tonight against Kennedy Catholic. And for the boys team, Ryan, the North Catholic Trojans have been on a little bit of a tear themselves, winning multiple games in a row, and now they're coming into a formidable opponent in that show-stopping matchup against Lincoln Park this Friday, just after the girls' game, which is the girls' senior night. For the boys, they'll be playing Lincoln Park at 7:30. Ryan, you were there for the last matchup that they had at PPG Paints Arena just after Christmas. What was that matchup like for North Catholic, and what can they do this time to be better?
The matchup didn't go well. There were some positives. Jude Rotman made 5 threes in that game. Max Hurry had a good game before his injury. But in that game, at the beginning at least, it looked a little bit of boys versus men to start. North looked scared of Lincoln Park, to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
They weren't – obviously they were ready to play, but they didn't – they looked a little scared. And nobody really wanted to take a shot. Max Hurry was putting up most of the shots to start. But once they started getting going, they built some momentum. They went on a couple of runs, cut it to 15 at the end, which is respectable against Lincoln Park. But the goal is to still beat them. And to beat them, you got to challenge them. They didn't challenge them enough last game in getting to the hoop. A couple times they had looks down below where they could have taken it, tried to draw contact, but they're afraid of getting blocked because Lincoln Park has so much size. You're going to get blocked sometimes. But you're also going to have to draw some fouls, get to the line, bring Lincoln Park into a foul trouble, because once they are down a couple starters, they really fall off a lot in their skill level. They got their top guys, obviously, Malik Thomas, Brandon Cummings. But you can get them in foul trouble, or at least get some guys in foul trouble, get some bench players in the game. That's how you're going to have your best shot to beat them. You got to challenge them early and bring them back down to a dirty game. You don't want this to be a back-and-forth shooting affair, because when it gets to that, Lincoln Park has the major advantage. North Catholic can score, but Lincoln Park, it just seems so easy for them sometimes.
Lincoln Park won that game 72-58 at PPG Paints Arena. North Catholic went on to lose the next 2 non-conference matchups they had, but now they're on a 6-game winning streak coming into this game on Friday, Callie. So that 6-game winning streak, they've had the confidence, but I think they had an idea that they were going to win those games. It's obviously you don't know until you play the games, but they've really done well in conference besides Lincoln Park, and that's been the case over the last several years. Do you feel that they have the confidence to be able to win this game?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're on a 6-game heater heading into that game, of course you have some confidence. But it'll be interesting to see, though, how the boys kind of bounce back after a blowout win, 101-51 to Ambridge. So it'll be interesting to see, because, I mean, that's the big difference between Ambridge and then you go play Lincoln Park. So
they've had time to rest up, so they should be ready to go. They had a week. Normally in high school basketball, you don't get this much of a break between games, but maybe a little bit good scheduling, make sure they're all rested up, and they're ready to go at the tip.
If I told you North Catholic, and I know we don't normally make predictions on this podcast, but if I told you North Catholic was up at halftime, would you say they win the game? Let's say they're up by 4. Do you think they win the game? I would say they would.
I would have a much better chance of winning the game than
being
down.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. But how about this? To make it even more official, a little bit overarching, do they win this game? Does North Catholic break their losing streak against Lincoln Park on Friday night?
I don't think so. I think it's going to come in the playoffs.
I think it'll probably come in the playoffs as well. But I do think North Catholic in this game has an excellent shot to catch Lincoln Park at a time maybe when they're a little bit vulnerable. When you get into the middle of the season, sometimes your armor gets a little bit thick, and you think you're invincible. Lincoln Park is that kind of team. They're really invincible. They don't play many competition in the Whitfield that's going to give them a fair fight. Can North Catholic get up at the end of the half or be within like 6? If they're within 6, even at halftime, losing, I think they have a great shot to win this game. And I try to be optimistic with North Catholic normally, but I really do feel like they have a real shot to win this game, Callie.
I mean, yeah, they certainly have the potential, Alex. They have the roster, they have the lineup to do it.
Can they get dirty and make mistakes? I know Miss Frizzle on the Magic School Bus always used to say that. And you remember those books, the Magic School Bus books? Get dirty, get messy, and make mistakes. Every team, every game is going to have that kind of feel to it. But can North Catholic counter from those mistakes? They're going to give up the open looks. Malik Thomas is going to score 15-plus points. That's a given.
And even if you haven't guarded, he's going to make shots. It's just about battling through that. The biggest thing, and we've said this every time, is getting the...
They got to get messy in the paint, though.
You got to get the defensive rebounds.
You're right.
And that's the biggest thing against Lincoln Park. You can stop them all you want on the first try, but they're going to get multiple tries if you don't box out and clear the rebound. And grab rebounds. Clear rebounds is more of a hockey term I'm thinking about last night.
And speaking of hockey, we'll get to that in a moment. But I think if North Catholic also in this game is able to, as Ryan said, get Lincoln Park into foul trouble. But really, North Catholic is going to have a fantastic night shooting. North Catholic, to beat Lincoln Park, it's going to have to be great in just about every facet of the game. And Lincoln Park is going to have to make some mistakes, which North Catholic is going to capitalize on. So North Catholic, in order to beat Lincoln Park, they're going to have to be at the top of their game. And we'll see if they are on Friday. And we hope you join us for that broadcast on the North Catholic Sports Network and for the girls' broadcast before that against Derry for their senior night. And now let's talk about the North Catholic hockey team. The North Catholic hockey team this season has really been impressive. A formidable opponent in single A this season. Through their 16 games, they're 11-4-1 overall, with that one being an overtime loss to Greensburg-Salem earlier this season. But North Catholic's 4 regulation losses, Callie, have come to 2 teams, Quaker Valley and Mars. One of those was last night on senior night, where Mars defeated North Catholic 4-3. But overall, North Catholic, Callie, in their last 11 games, they've won 9 of them. Where do you feel like they're at coming into the home stretch?
Well, Alex, North Catholic, they have a bit of a tough schedule ahead of them. They play Indiana, Greensburg-Salem, Shaler, and Montour to close out the season. And then, like you said, they just played Mars last night. But if you're North Catholic, I would still feel pretty good. You know, of course, the 7-game win streak came to an end last night. But a lot to look for in the next few games. I thought North Catholic has definitely improved offensively. Like we said last night during the broadcast, North Catholic scoring a lot more goals than they were at the beginning of the season, which has definitely helped. But I'd also like to look for the defense as well to start improving a little bit more. I saw a lot of puck watching last night, and I'd like to see a little bit more movement and aggressiveness on the puck. But otherwise, I think North Catholic is in a pretty good spot.
To paint a picture of the playoff picture right now in the Varsity A Gold Division, there are 2 divisions in single A. The Varsity A Gold Division, which North Catholic is in, there's 12 teams in that one. And then on the Varsity A Blue side is another 12 teams. Only one of those teams made the playoffs last year that is in that division, and that team was Avonworth.
And it was technically not in the playoffs. They got into the playoffs because Montour was kicked out of the playoffs.
Exactly. And Montour is in North Catholic side this year. Montour having a down year, but also have some good scorers on that team. Hunter Fiedler leads single A in scoring, but he also is up there leading in penalty minutes. Montour has 421 penalty minutes this year through 18 games. They could get to 500. That'd be impressive, but they're not going to make the playoffs. In the Varsity A Gold Division, Quaker Valley is the number 1 seed, played 14 games, 27 points. Indiana is the 2nd seed. North Catholic plays them on Thursday, the 25th, at Indiana in a JV and varsity matchup. They've played 15 games, 26 points. Shaler is the 3rd seed, played 15 games with 23 points, and North Catholic tied with Shaler for that 3rd seed. Has played 16 games with 23 points, but they play each other one more time, like you mentioned, Callie, in 2 weeks at home. And then Mars right behind North Catholic now, just a point behind with a game in hand of North Catholic, 15 games, 22 points. And Greensburg-Salem as 16 games played, 20 points for the 6th seed in Meadville, just on the outside looking in with 14 games played and 18 points. So that's the teams that are going to be in the playoff picture. Butler is still hanging around, but they've played 17 games with 16 points. I don't think they're going to be in those contenders here by the time we get to next week. So we have our 7 teams. Which one of those teams is going to be knocked out? That's going to be the question here, Callie, in the next couple of weeks. But for North Catholic, coming off of this loss, do you think that this could be an opportunity for North Catholic to be able to get another resurgence, another jolt heading into the postseason?
I do for sure, Alex, because last night's matchup was like a playoff matchup, really.
It felt like it.
It was. Playoff atmosphere for sure. And I feel like if you're North Catholic, I'd take a lot of positives from that game. I mean, it was a tough game, a battle back and forth. Kind of hurt to lose that one last night. But if you're North Catholic moving forward, you're still keeping positive. I mean, overall, they have had a really good season this year, and there's no doubt that they can beat any of these teams coming up next.
Without a doubt. And last night being senior night, 8 seniors on this North Catholic hockey program, 6 of which were on the ice last night, and Connor Rousset backed up. And the seniors on this team, Callie, have really done an impressive job of rallying their group together. They had a tough start to the season, but then they went on a tear. They really went on a run. They added some new guys to the bunch. Carmen D'Ambrosio was added to the team, another senior for North Catholic this year that has really stepped up in a big way, and he'll be going on to play hockey in college, as well as 2 other players for North Catholic seniors. Ryan Berry and Connor Berry will be playing college hockey as well at the club level for their respective colleges. Ryan Berry committed just recently to St. Bonaventure, which is going to be a fantastic fit for Ryan. A Pitt man at heart, but he won't be far away at St. Bonaventure, and he'll be trying out to play hockey there next year. And I think he's going to absolutely be on that team, Callie, and he's going to be he's a player as well as all the players in this North Catholic team that really example what you want on your team. You want a person that can lead by example. You want a person that is a great teammate, and on top of that, you want them to have some skill. Ryan has a bit of skill on him. Some skill.
Not that much.
Some skill. He's second on the team in points. Got an assist last night, a ridiculous assist on the backhand last night.
Lucky.
And now you're up to 30 points in the year now? 30 points in the season. Right behind Beckett Dunn at the top of North Catholic's team, and he's one of the top 20 players in single A in points. But that leadership, that comes in handy down the stretch. And do you think that will help them carry into the off season, especially that experience of previous losses in playoffs, to really have that increased hunger for the championship?
I mean, yeah, leadership is a huge part of the team, and North Catholic has just that. Like you said, Alex, all the seniors on the team provide that leadership for all the younger players as well, who have been making an impact on the game. I'd like to talk about Michael Doucette has played really well for North Catholic. He's really aggressive on both the forecheck and the back check. He has 2 points in 3 games played so far. But like you said, leadership, really important. North Catholic, 2 great seniors on defense, Connor Berry and Colin Guinera.
Colin Guinera's been really good.
That was really solid.
He played fantastic last night.
That was the best game of the year.
It was, and he has a presence of mind offensively that is unlike any defenseman on this North Catholic team, where he can jump up on the rush, and he's so smart with the puck, such a smart guy on and off the ice, and he's a tremendous teammate as well, and it's what an asset he has been to this North Catholic program and moving forward. But you're right, Callie, about just some of those guys. How about another player that's really played well last night? I thought Miles Robinson. I thought he played a great game last night. He drew a penalty in the third period to get North Catholic an opportunity on the power play, and that was a great power play shift for the Trojans. A lot of great opportunities, and so it'd be nice to have another opportunity. But Mars, they're the least penalized team in single A. Was fortunate to get one opportunity, but it was a good one. And the power play, hopefully, that's something that North Catholic can fine tune here as we get in the playoffs. And now they're like 6 of 44 now in this season. Hopefully they can. That'll be something that they could.
It looked better. It looked the best that it has all year last night. I wish we had more than one opportunity. I don't know. I think we had like 7 shots there because the start of the power play, we were getting
kept the puck in the zone the entire time.
We were getting outshot by like 15, and all of a sudden it was like single digits. I'm like, well, that was a quick change. I don't know how we didn't score there. just to jump in there.
And I want to ask you about your goaltender, Wyatt Cleveland. Wyatt played a great game last night, and Reset has been good as well when he's been called upon this season. The goaltending, what does that do to the team? The confidence that you know that you have confidence in, that you have faith, I should say, in both of your netminders. Does it free you up a little bit offensively?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't play a very good game by any means last night, but we had a chance to win at the end because Wyatt kept us in it. Of course, there's a couple unlucky bounces there that get by him, but not much he could really do on most of those goals. And we just got to make sure as he's keeping us in the games, we got to start helping him out a little bit and getting some goals. And we've been doing that last night, a little bit of an exception, but we were right there, and it's a good team, and hopefully we'll see him again sometime in the playoffs.
Wyatt Cleveland, one of the North Catholic All-Stars, will be competing at the PHL All-Star Game this Sunday at RMU. And after that game, which will be participated in by Wyatt Cleveland, Ryan Berry, Connor Berry, and Becca Dunn for North Catholic, they'll be heading to the UPMC, the Muse Sports Complex, to face off against Central Catholic at 6:30 in a revitalization of the rivalry between these two storied programs on the ice that really took back a lot in the 1980s and 1970s era. But those are great times for both programs, and we were able to have a matchup 2 years ago at the Hunt Armory in which North Catholic won in overtime in a remarkable win where Mario Smith ended it in overtime. And a lot of those players, especially from Central Catholic, they have 11 upperclassmen that are forwards. There's going to be some memories that are going to be jogged by the time we get into this game, and it'll be a excellent matchup, Callie. We'll be at both of those games. We'll be at the All-Star game,
yeah.
and then we'll be driving up to Lemieux from 279, and we're really looking forward to that matchup. And that won't be 279. That'll just be 79.
79.
That'll just be 79. 279 goes downtown. But we'll be coming up 79 back to Lemieux, and we'll have that game for you on the North Catholic Sports Network between North Catholic and Central Catholic at 6:30. And while we have the time here, let's revisit some of these two interviews that we recorded back in November that we never published in a podcast, regretfully. But we're going to do it now, just so we can put them out there and recognize them for their achievements. We interviewed Katie Hardy and Madeline Muth in November for their accolades that they had in their playoffs of their seasons. Madeline Muth was fantastic over the regular season, was fantastic in the Whitfield and State playoffs. And Katie Hardy and Bree Kelly went all the way to the state finals in doubles tennis. And so we interviewed Katie and Madeline back in November. Here are those interviews now. We hear North Catholic junior girls tennis player Katie Hardy. Katie, thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
Katie, to start off, congratulations on all your success this year.
Thank you.
And to start off with Bree, she came in as a freshman. Did you know her before she came in, and how has that chemistry developed so quickly with her?
No, I did not know her at all before she came in. She came in, and we just kind of clicked automatically, just like on the court and off the court. And then I asked the coach, I was like, can I be with Bria?
And that's how it started right there? Wow, what's it been like being coached by Mr. Malone? Have you had him in class before? And if so, how does that translate like on into practice?
Luckily, I didn't have him freshman year, so I had him as a coach and then a teacher, which definitely was weird. But you just like have so much respect for him. So I love him coaching. He tells you like exactly what to do, and you're just like, okay, I'll do it.
And in your semifinal match at States against Greensburg Central Catholic, you won the first set 7-6, but lost the next one 0-6. What changed after that set that turned things around for you both to win 6-2 in set 3?
So our second set, we were very just low on energy, which caused us to like just not be in the right state of mind. And actually Coach Malone came down and was like, you guys just need to have energy, like it's okay. And I literally just went out there and I was like jumping up and down. I was like, every time we won a really good point, I'd be like, come on, let's go. So I just like filled up the energy, cheered Bria on, and I think that's what did it.
So after that match, I mean, the feeling kind of a sigh of relief. Like you lose 6-0 and then when you win the next one 6-2, what kind of confidence did that give you heading into the next one?
It was definitely weird because we went in thinking like we were maybe going to win the first match. Yeah. But Confidence, it really just gave us, like, they beat us for us to get third place in Whippeal. So for us to beat them back, it just showed that we could do it. And with our, like, positivity, we could do things.
In different sports, there's different ways that teams can get momentum. I was like in basketball, you get a slam dunk or a big three-pointer. Or in baseball, you get a big double up to the wall, lead off the inning. In tennis, what is that stroke or what is that moment that can really generate some momentum for either a singles player or a doubles player to really maybe carry them a couple points and get them that energy that you were talking about?
So definitely, with doubles cheering each other on especially, but probably either a volley or an overhead or any really ball that the other players like barely touch probably builds momentum for all of us.
And what were some highlights from practices or matches this season that you hope to repeat next year?
Probably like being the captain, like leading the team. I would love to do that again because that was really fun, and I got to connect with the kids, which I definitely would do again. And just like the fun off court, like we would do themed practices where we dress up. So just generally like fun things that we would do just really like builds the team up, and I think we're so close now.
What was an example of one of them that you dressed up as?
Well, I know JV one day did dress as Mr. Malone.
Ties?
Yep.
Ties? Yeah.
And then we, as the varsity, we did one day where we broke up into teams. So mine was pink. We did a pink out one, and then they did white lies one time.
That's awesome. And this year was the first year a doubles team for North Catholic advanced to states. What does that mean to you? And with you guys not being seniors, nobody's leaving. So how do you feel to replicate this success next year?
It's definitely what I want to do. I definitely want to replicate, get to states. It just means like the world that I've started something, and to be with like Bria and to be like, we've started the teams growing. We're getting better. We're not just a team that's kids that have never played tennis. These are kids that know how to play tennis.
And I know you love tennis, and you do it consistently. You practice 4 days a week, at least throughout the off season as well. What about it do you love the most?
It really just calms me, and just like it's just like clicks with me. I go out and play, and just like everything goes away, and you just have fun with it, and that's what I feel like.
And we thank you for coming on, and good luck next year, and congratulations on everything you accomplished this year.
Thank you.
We're here with sophomore girls cross-country runner Madeline Mafe. Madeline, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And Madeline, first of all, congratulations on an amazing season.
Thank you.
So going off of that, you had so many great races this year, but how special was winning that Whippeal race?
It was really special. My main goal going into the race wasn't even to win. It was to just get a place high enough that could get my team a Whippeal championship, and to cross the line and know that I won and watch my team win too was just amazing.
Going into that race, I mean, you're only a sophomore and you're going up against juniors and seniors. So you said you weren't even trying to win, but did you think you could win going into it?
Well, our coach talked to us going in, and he said I was ranked 3rd going in, and at Tri-States the week before I got 6th. But when I finished that race, I knew that I probably could have run faster. So during the second lap, there's a pack of 5 of us, and we were all going at the same pace, and I just knew that I could pull ahead. There was only a half mile left, and once I did that, I knew that I was in first and I couldn't lose it now.
When you're running, is there anything in particular you think about to stay locked in particularly, or does your mind drift? Is it you just don't even think about anything when you're running? What's your frame of mind during a race?
So the Whippeal course was a 2-loop course. So on the first loop, I was just trying to focus on my pacing and speed and getting a good individual place. But the last lap, all I could think about was my team, and the thought of them is what really drove me to win.
And Madeline, do you think practicing on hilly courses help your team excel on flatter ones?
I definitely think so, because we're used to having to go up these hills, which is so much harder on our legs. But whenever it's flat, it allows us to push ourselves more and go faster.
And Madeline, obviously you had the big Whippeals race, and that's probably the one you'll remember the most. But what were some other memorable races this year?
I would say another memorable race was the Legends race that we went to in Ohio, where I was the runner-up and broke 19 minutes for the first time. And I would say another memorable race was probably the States race,
because we were all so excited after winning WIPUALs, and we also placed as the #1 WIPUAL team there, so we knew it wasn't a fluke and that we really did earn it. And my team also did really well, so that was exciting.
They certainly did. And what do you see as the future of the program for the next 2 years? And on top of that, with all you've accomplished already, what are your goals? Even though it's a long ways off from next season, what are your goals for the next season and the season to come after that?
So our team is definitely very young. Our scorers are essentially all sophomores and freshmen, and losing our senior Grace Lazare is going to be really hard. But we have a really strong freshman class coming up for our team next year, and I think that we hope to make a repeat of our WIPUAL win. And for me, I would like to obviously defend my title and then keep moving up in my place at states.
And going off of that as a whole, what was your team's biggest strength this year?
I think our biggest strength was just pushing each other, because we all had really similar paces and we would always go back and forth every meet. So just knowing that we would always be there to push each other and build each other up was definitely a strength that we had.
Madeline, thank you for your time. That's all we got for you, and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
And that does it for our podcast today. We really do apologize for not being able to put those interviews in our podcast that should have been released in November. We just really dropped the ball on that one. But now we're getting back to it here in January, and what a great time to do it. Sports is alive here at North Catholic, and I think this is the best sports time of the year.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be fun here. Playoffs coming up soon. We thank you all for listening. Remember, we are your one-stop podcast for everything North Catholic athletics.